So there was that study conducted by Roland Vass from IRD, saying that 0.4% of the web content is from Africa, well, scientifically speaking, of course, and if you accept South Africa, it's very, very low. So the SIST project tried to make that research in Africa more visible on internet. So the SIST objectives, it's improve and share knowledges and experiences, promote existing and ongoing results, so that's very important. We are not trying to redo something. We are working with a lot of people here actually. We are trying to work with all the initiatives already working in that field. To build regional research networks, so that's one part of the project as well, to introduce African research in international networks. And this project is also trying to contribute to the reduction of the digital divide, and it's part of the French contribution to the WSIS. So 3 figures for the SIST, so 3 years, 3 million euros and 12 countries. That's the basic figures, which has been changed this year, because it has been, the project has been extended until the end of 2007, so that's one of the news. And there is a 13th country actually, which is going to take part of this project, it's Morocco. I'm going to show you the 12 countries, well, all of them actually. Here they are. You can see that there is quite a lot in West Africa. There used to be 2 in North Africa, Algeria and Tunisia, and now there is Morocco as well. There is 1 in the Indian Ocean, Madagascar, 1 in the Great Lakes, Burundi, and all the others are in West Africa or Central Africa for Cameroon. And the other particularity is that there is only 2, well, there is 2 English-speaking countries, Ghana and Nigeria, and all the other one are French-speaking countries. But this is to try to put links between research in French-speaking countries and the English-speaking countries. So the participants to the project, of course, the project is for the researchers mainly. It's to help them to access to scientific and technical information, and also to disseminate their own scientific and technical information. So the laboratories and universities. In each country, it's being conducted as a national project. So there is some steering committee called the Country Orientation and Decision Committee. There is a technical partner for the project, which is CIRAD. I don't know if some of you know CIRAD. It's some French company for cooperation, international cooperation for research in agriculture and development. There is a technical assistant, which is me actually, coordinating the project, and I'm hosted by FARA, Forum for Africa, for Agricultural Research in Africa, which is in Accra. And the steering committee of the project, and the national technical partner, which is our technical partner in each country, the one who is going to deal with all the technical aspects. And of course there is some very important participants as well, which are the partners, but the partners are more and more every day. So here it's going to be 2 slides about what have been done until now. In 2004, the main starting point was in official launching meeting in March in Montpellier, and we have a project website. So here we are. You have the URL. We had some regional sensitization trainings workshop about accessing information on internet. We had the project scientific committee, those country steering committee in 8 countries, technical partners in 7 countries, country studies in, well, that's some country studies are a study conducted in each country to try to assess the state of the research and connectivity in the country. Also, actually, those technical, those country studies, when they are validated, they are downloadable from our website. And partnerships with CIRAD, FAO, UF, IRD, INASP, AAB, AFL.net, and some more. So in 2005, so now we have developed one tool. I'm going to talk about it just after. So we had the first version in May, and the second version is going to be on very soon in December. So we try to access the partner databases. We try also to access scientific and technical information from African countries through initiatives already existing like HL and databases of institutions. So we tried to deploy that platform, technical platform. So we had some management and use of SIST platform training session in Algiers, Accra, and now we are going to plan to have one in Yaoundé in December. And those training sessions are to train the national technical partner to install and manage the platform. And we have also a trainers training session on the use of the platform. And those trainers, they are going to animate some more training session. And actually we had some in Algeria last month in October, some multiplication of those training sessions, which is the only way to access as many people, as many researchers as possible. And we hope to have the platform installed in 6 countries by the end of the year. And we had the steering committee of the whole project in June. So I'm going to talk about the tool itself. So it's, the SIST platform has been developed based on the open software SPIP Agora, which is a content management system, which you may not know since it's French. But it's, what is good in that, it's open software, so it's free of charge for the country. That's, and everything which is added for the SIST, because we added quite a few functionalities to the SPIP Agora, everything which is added also to SPIP Agora. So everyone using SPIP Agora after is using what SIST has been adding to the CMS. Well, if you go on internet and you go to that SIST platform, it's a like website with 4 entry points. One with the SIST, so that's talking about the project itself, where it comes from, and the STI in the country. So you have to understand that SIST is a network of national SIST. So we will have one platform in each country and one central one, and all of them communicating together. So on each national platform you have information on STI, scientific and technical information in the country, and you have one which is scientist office. That's where you can find tools for the scientist, for the researcher. I will show you just after. And there is some e-workspace, so there is some space where project teams or networks can build their own website within the SIST. Here are the main tools which are in the SIST platform. It's not only, but they are the main. So we have a federated search engine, which is engine requesting from various databases. So various meaning various type of content. It can be experts, it can be bibliographic, it can be full text, it can be everything. I will demonstrate it just after. Scientific news syndication, so I guess you've heard about that before. It's that it's becoming quite popular right now. It's a lot of websites. They provide you an entry point to the news they are publishing, and you can, if you go to that entry point, you can display those news in your own website. So we are using that syndication, so you can, choose the website you want, of course, to have the news from, and have it all on the same screen. So we have an open archive harvester, and we have also a wiki, forum, and selective dissemination of information. So I'm going to show you if it works. I'm not. Yes, here it is. I don't know. I've never worked on Macintosh before, but it should launch. Yeah, right. We are not on internet. I understood before coming that it was going to be maybe difficult to get to internet from here. So it's just a few slides trying to show you what the SIST tool looks like. So here you have the main page, and you see here all the. Yeah, you can see here the 4 entry points I was talking about before. So SIST, I'm going to go fast on that. So if you click, so you have all the information about the SIST. Here you have, it's difficult to read, okay? But you have mainly information about the SIST project, the SIST in different countries, so you have entry point to each national SIST, and the partners and the project in the country. So here it's about scientific and technical information in the countries. You have expert directories, international organization directory, national institute directory. Well, it's mainly directories and online publishing within the country. Okay, I'm going to go first to the e-workspace, and then I will go back to the scientist office. Yeah, no, I clicked not on the right one. It should. Yeah, it is. So the e-workspace, that's where if you are a team and you want to, if you are a team working on the same field and you want to have a specific area on internet to be able to share files or to manage your project and anything, you can just send an email to the administrator of the platform, and he opens a space for you like this one, and then you can administrate yourself, because since it is developed from a content management system, with the SIST you have also the administration of the website coming with the website. So you can after add as many sections as you want, and use all the tools which are included in the SIST. So I'm going to show you just first the federated search engine here. So you can see here we have quite a few databases already. These databases are from our partners. Yeah, you cannot see a lot. There is Agris actually from FAO. There is Agile here. And there is some from Gazab is from INSTI, from Ghana. There are some from, I have problems, from IRD, plain text, which is a full text database. Cybertez, which is some system gathering all the CVs in a lot of African countries, and everywhere, well, some other. So I just simulate some research. So you research malaria falciparum, for instance, falciparum, which is very important in Africa, and you send and you get some Google-like, I would say, reply, but it's only on those identified databases. It's not on all the web. So, and you have everything. You have it's using the RSS format, so it's very simple metadata format, and you have where it comes from, plain text, which is a full text database. If you click on it, you go straight to where it comes from. Okay, so SIST is mainly some kind of entry point, and as soon as you want to go to the resource itself, you go to where it belongs to. Okay, because we are trying to not centralize any information, but work with decentralized, delocalized information. And there you see you can get the full text PDF, and then you can download it. Okay, if I have, I can even go back. This is okay. So let's go back and let's see some other things like. I have to go on this one. Okay. Here we have the Open Archive Harvester. So we have some. Okay. We identify Open Archive, and then we have that cell, and we have that index table within the SIST, so we can access straight from the SIST. Okay. If we go, I think I go. Yeah, this way. You see, you can. Use a notice or use the original, the main archive. And this is the same, actually the Open Archive, all this is also included in the federated search engine I showed you. Let's go back, and I hope I'm not too... 3 minutes? Okay, that's far enough. Wait, and the last one, yeah, this is the last one I wanted to show you. This is dissemination of, selective dissemination of information. I'm sure you all know that, because if you go to a website, you can register in the website and get news in your mailbox. So we try to do that, but with all the tools we have in the SIST, meaning that you can register in the SIST platform, give your email, and you can select websites where you want scientific news from, and you have that federated search engine. You can, I think now you can have at least up to 5 requests from that search engine, and you say how often you want to get them. I'm sorry, this one is in French, but it's daily or every week or every month and everything, and you get in your mailbox an email with the answer to that. I mean, not with the full reply to that, but the incremental reply to your request. So every time there is something new, you get it. I think that's it.
Thanks, Augustin.
Oh, just I want to add something. I left some brochures at the back of the room, so if you're interested, you can have the brochure, and you have my email address anyway on the SIST website also.
Does somebody have a question or a clarification or comment? Stephen? Yeah.
So these services are live on the web now? Sorry, I was concentration wandered at that particular point.
Yeah, actually, it is accessible to the web right now. It is there is a prototype which is accessible through the web, and if I can go, yeah, I may go. How can I? Yes, I remember. Page down. Page. Yeah, I want. No, that was not. Okay, let's. Okay. I just wanted to go to the. Okay. I don't know if we can see it. Wait. You can see the SIST-prototype.sist-science-devs.net, which is, well, it's quite long, but the SIST-science.net, if you get the PowerPoint, you can have the URL. It is in place right now. We are trying. We have done that those training sessions in Algeria for Algeria and Madagascar, and in Ghana for Ghana. So they have everything, and they are supposed to put it in place now. So before the end of the year, I think Algeria is almost there, Madagascar as well, and Ghana we are expecting some more technical aspects, and it should be on at least in 3 countries, and hopefully in 6 countries by the end of this year. But still, this URL is the central SIST, what we call the central SIST, which is accessible right now.
Thank you. Yes?
Is the distributed ones in the countries, are they hosted locally and based on the local academic networks, say?
Actually, they are hosted locally in each country. It's supposed to be 12 of them, well, 13 now with Morocco at the end of the project, so 13 platforms like that, one in each country. But it's hosted at the national level, meaning that after the institution connect to the system within the country. But it's not one central website accessing all the countries. It's in each country there is one, but they are communicating all together. If you can see, no, you cannot see. But the idea of that is in each country is to connect the system to the national databases. I mean the databases from the country. And when you request from the SIST, you can ask him to request from the other SIST as well. So that means that if you send a request to your national platform, you can also, the national platform can send it to the other ones, and the other ones are requesting from their national databases, and all the results are coming back to you. So that's, the idea is not to have all in one, but to try to work as a network.
Good, thanks very much. Why don't you ask the question while you set yourself up? If you can ask the question.
I'm a little bit confused about the national networks. Do the national networks also work with the universities in that country so that the researchers in ag sciences at the University of Ghana or the other universities are feeding in and getting something from the system? How do those relationships work with individual universities and research organizations?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try to reply, to answer quickly to this question. I was talking about the tool, I mean the internet tool, which is going to be based in one institution in each country. Actually in Ghana it's the Institute for National Scientific and Technical Information. But the project also try to help institutions within the country to have their own scientific production accessible through internet. So if there is some project from the university, from research institution, the SIST project can help and can find a fund part of this project or the project itself. We have not a lot of money, but we aim to do that, and we prefer to help the institution to have their own open archive, for instance, or to have their own website accessing their databases, and then the SIST platform is accessing the database through the internet.
Good, thanks. I have to move you one this time.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Probably while you're setting up, it's good. What I'm assuming is all the PowerPoints are on here. So I'm assuming that after the workshop, they will all be on the conference website. So if you just escape. Sorry, no. Quit PowerPoint. That's good.
What?
Quit PowerPoint. Yeah. Don't save. So they'll all be on the website afterwards, I think, and then you can just double click on your one.
It doesn't work that way. It's here. Okay. That's the first time I've done it.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Yeah, okay. My name is Emilia Banyonite, and I have actually several hats. So now here I am coming as an IFONet advisory board member. What I'm doing in everyday life, I'm a library director at Vilnius Pedagogical University, which is in Lithuania, one of the Baltic countries. And also I'm a president of Lithuanian Research Library Consortium. I've noticed that in the program there is no explanation what IFONet is. So IFONet is the abbreviation of Electronic Information for Libraries. Electronic Information for Libraries. And here, now I'm standing here in between you and your lunch, and it's not a popular time for a speaker, but it's very good that the other speakers, the previous speakers, had already covered lots of the things that I am going to talk about. So the project we are running is actually not the project, it's a foundation. So why it is here and why it was started, because you all know that we need information not only for rich countries but for developing world as well. I'm not repeating these things. What is IFONet? IFONet is a non-for-profit organization which is registered in the Netherlands and operational from Italy, from Rome. It is a global coalition of 50 national library consortia in transition and developing countries. It supports the building and sustaining of library consortia and negotiates and advocates for the wide availability of electronic information in member countries. It offers a range of relevant services and activities to member consortia. And this word consortia was mentioned here several times, and it is very, very important. Our goals are to unite purchasing power of a large number of institutions through national library consortia, because if you buy something for 50 countries, you get quite a different price instead of buying for one country. To create and sustain a global infrastructure for central negotiations, administrative and technical support, education services, and issues pertaining to the provision of electronic content. And this is what we're doing is very similar to what you guys are doing. Also advocate for the needs of member consortia with information providers, policymakers, funding agencies, and international fora. To provide a capacity building and knowledge and resource sharing network for member consortia. Our governance is quite simple. We have a management board. Also, we have an advisory board which is elected from our members, and our member countries are represented by country coordinators, and in some cases these country coordinators are the same country coordinators as for PERI project, for example. We also have a central management team with a managing director. Actually, this team is very small, only 3 people running the whole thing, and they are really quite busy. Our program areas are as follows. Actually, I should have put consortium building on the first place because this is the main thing what we're doing. Also, we are negotiating the licensed electronic commercial content. We are building institutional repositories and advocating open access. We have an intellectual property program and also work on information technology. And in all these areas, we are looking for capacity building, knowledge sharing, resource provision, and international networking and advocacy. And a little bit about each of this. So electronic commercial content is different. What you are doing here, you are usually providing the contents free of charge for the countries. What we are doing, we are asking the countries what information they need. We are not just giving them a gift, but we are just asking, and the countries decide that this is the priority list, A, B, C, and D, and then we go to the publishers and we negotiate for the contents. What we get, we also have, it was mentioned here that foreign languages are very important as a very big part of our network is Russian-speaking population, so Russian content is also very important for us. What we do, we do not pay for the content, and some publishers, they are giving the content for in tiers. Let's say for countries A or tier 1, the countries that can pay more, they have to pay more than tier 2 or tier 3, and there are sometimes countries on the very bottom line that they do not pay anything. But this doesn't mean that, and what we are telling countries, that this doesn't mean that if you get this for free today, you will not get it forever. And this is, as it was said with Hinari and Agora, this is the market thing, and the countries should understand this. What we have, also we have central negotiations, so countries should not negotiate themselves. We have model licenses available for members to use. Also, we have a very good access to legal advice. Emanuela Javara from UK is helping us with licenses. And licenses are of different types. The consortium can sign them, or different institutions can do this. And also, INASP assists in fundraising in country to ensure sustainability. So we can give small grants to ensure sustainability. As I said, that consortium building is one of our main goals, and in most countries, when we started, the project is now 5 years. We have IFL for 5 years, and it started in 2001. And when we started, some countries even did not know this word consortium, what it's all about. In consortium building and management, what we're doing, we are holding workshops, regional and national. Each year we have a global General Assembly, and last month this global General Assembly was held for the 5th time in my country, Lithuania, where all coordinators are invited, and we have a 2 or 3 day program. Actually, we have 2-day full program plus pre-conference. What is very important, we have this knowledge network, electronic and physical. When people meet together and when they meet for the 5th time, they know each other. And it is very important when they can ask the other coordinators how they work, what they do, how they approach to this, how they solve this problem or that problem. And I can say that actually when our coordinators are meeting, they are meeting like a family, and we call even ourselves a family meeting. And we can share our best practices and case studies. We have a website which is mentioned here, and you can see it, and it's also on my blouse. Also, we are participating in national and international fora and this meeting, and as I said, we give startup grants for poor countries, but we tell them that this is only for startup and don't expect that we will give it on an ongoing basis. Talking about consortia, there is not one receipt for all countries because we are working with such big variety of countries in 3 different continents, so each country is choosing their best model. Talking about institutional repositories, from the very beginning IFL aimed to be a conduit for electronic content produced in IFL countries. And it is important that we have some resources and they should be available. So we assist with the selection of tools, how to make them available. Recently we called a there was a call for proposals, and we started pilots in Namibia, South Africa and Cambodia. Another program area is open access. Here we have a partnership with OAI to facilitate and support publications of authors from IFL countries in alternative or open access journal. We promote open access journals and have had already some awareness raising workshops in South Africa, in Ukraine, in Lithuania, China, and there are others on our list. Also, here we work closely together with OSI. Another problematic area and another what we are solving is intellectual property. We found out that in lots of our countries there is information missing on intellectual property, and we started this program last year with the creation of a network of experts, and we will start with the awareness raising workshops, and one of these will be held in Africa, and another one in December in Estonia. So we also seek accreditation and participation in international fora such as WIPO, and we work together making statements, let's say, with IFLA on behalf of developing and transition countries regarding digital rights, because we are afraid that intellectual property rights are going, this balance is going more to the authors and more to commercial, to hide the information from the users than the users can't access the information that they should. This extension of to 70 years from 50 years, and even talking about extending to 100 years, this is nonsense to our understanding, and I think that we should advocate for this. Another project area is information technology. We had an international request for information on portal technology. We don't have portal technology, but what we found out that many libraries cannot afford proprietary software, so we are focusing now on open source software for library applications. Actually, we don't think that open source software is so free, because it is free to take it, but when you start thinking about implementing, it is not free. And talking about developing world and our libraries, most of them, they don't have technical capacity, and so what that it is free, but if you don't have people qualified enough to install it and to maintain it, so it is a problematic area. Now, whom we are working with, we have 50 countries in 3 continents, 17 in Africa, 16 in Asia, and 17 in Europe. In Africa, we work with Botswana, Cameroon, Egypt, Ghana, Lesotho, Malawi, Mali, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Sudan, Swaziland, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. These are our African countries. In Asia, we have Armenia, the former Soviet countries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. Then we have China, we have Cambodia, we have Iran. This is our new country. Iran, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine territories, and Syria joined IPL this year. And we plan to join Myanmar and Indonesia. In Europe, we have the countries that belonged to former Soviet bloc, the former Soviet Union countries, and some Eastern European countries that belonged to the Soviet bloc. So we have created a global network that has a great power and a potential market. We don't hide this. And we hope that there are other initiatives, and not only hope, that I've heard today that there are, and we are open to cooperation, and we think that it will be very useful to work together on the issues that we were talking today. Thank you for listening, and I hope I got in time.
You have 2 extra minutes, so we have some...
Okay, so this was the abbreviated version, so now I can answer the questions, because I think that it is always more interesting just to talk than to tell me what I think that is important for you. That it's better to answer your questions, what is really important for you.
What subject areas does I4 predominantly focus on?
We started with the social sciences and humanities. And why we started with social sciences and humanities? Because the countries that we are serving, we are missing this information because of the political reasons. And so that was our main focus. So we had an international tender, and EBSCO won the tender. And after we got EBSCO, then the country started demanding other information. So now we are focused on any topic, whatever countries say. We have the content group, which is working on the content. They are looking for the content that might be interesting, and then we ask our coordinators whether you would be interested in this or that. And then we count, 15 countries are interested in this, 25 in this, and that's how we set up areas of priority. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Liz's question earlier about scientific content. I think you've got the American Institute of Physics, the British Institute of Physics, yes. The American Mathematical Association. There's some quite good scientific content that's available.
Yes, so now we have about 8 providers that we are working with, and we are continuing negotiations with the others. We have EBSCO, ProQuest, American Chemical Society, American Physical Society. We have Oxford University Press, Cambridge University Press, Oxford Reference Online. What else I missed?
Mathematical Association.
Yeah, Mathematical Association. So that's what we're working with. Yeah.
I have a question, and this is when you go to Highwire, which is the Stanford University portal site, which I think is marvelous. It will tell you which journals are free of charge, which journals have special rates for developing countries, which journals have back issues, all kinds of information that's really relevant within the developing country context. Highwire, unfortunately, works almost entirely with publishers in the life sciences. A few journals outside of the life sciences, but not very many. One of the problems, as I see it, once you go into the physical sciences, the mathematical sciences, all of those other sciences, is there's no place that a researcher can go to find the same kind of information. Because if a library is not participating in the Eiffel program to get the physics journals or so forth, researchers don't always know where to go to get that information. Has Eiffel ever considered having a website that will at least list the journals and list what the terms are for developing countries, not necessarily through Eiffel, not necessarily through INASP, but at least a place where an individual researcher can find that information without having to go to 5 different places.
It is on our website. We have a
Great.
special area, other resources, and Hinari, Agora, Perry, and open access journals, and all information which is available free of charge or with some limited funding. We list all this on. If you will go into our website, it is there. And if you know other resources that we don't know, so please write us, and we will put it on our website. One thing I didn't mention, it is very important. The bandwidth thing is very important. So when we negotiate with publishers, we also ask them to provide CDs. Not all the publishers agree to provide CDs, but some do. And the ones who do, we really make great benefit of the CDs. Let's say EBSCO provides CDs for the countries, or DVDs if they want. Let's say countries with good bandwidth, they refuse to take those CDs or DVDs. But the African countries and other countries in Asia with bad bandwidth, they do take these CDs, and although the information is a little bit out of date, but for those countries it is very, very useful information, and they can get it, each institution, not one CD per country, but each institution which is subscribing to EBSCO host, they get CDs or DVDs.
To follow up on that point that you made, you were making about the Eiffel service pointing to different offerings. I think this is very important. The Perry midterm review found that there was a little bit of confusion at institutional level about what was available and what was not. And I think all of us that are in the preferred access area are very concerned that we get as transparent as possible those countries, those journals, those institutions that are eligible, open, whatever. And in fact, we are following up on this. We'll be having another meeting in December amongst some of the people. But the trouble is that there are 30 or 40 programs of different types around the world that are providing preferred access terms. And keeping track of them all when they're all moving as well is not easy.
But the thing that Highwire does, which I think is enormously useful, is it does it by journal type.
Okay.
And that's what really needs to be done, because if I'm a researcher in Kenya, I don't really want to know about Hinari or Agora per se. I want to know how can I get access to this journal.
Of course, and in fact you can do it by title.
To do this by journal, I think it's very time-consuming, and having the office of only 3 people like we have, and working with 50 countries, it's someone has to sit down and to look through those and each title, and to look into each project what is available. So you can do this. We are doing lots of things on volunteer basis, and our country coordinators or volunteers are doing lots of things. Maybe somebody can do it, but you have to keep this checking all the time, because the conditions do change, and
well, in fact, what we're proposing, speaking on in there, is an open content management system where each program would update its own information with its journal with its countries, and that would be then a federated process of making clear what your program or your initiative or
I totally agree.
Good. Okay, Steve, might have something else in there? Yeah, let's break for lunch in a couple of minutes, I think. We're already a few minutes over time, but Martin, go ahead.
Well, just taking this one step further, that actually I think the kind of the ultimate, the holy grail, if you like, of this is not even a title listing, although that is very much needed. It's you just enter you can recreate a kind of Google, but it's full text, so that you can search, and it doesn't matter which program, which initiative, which methodology, whether it's open access or preferential or full cost. It's just if you need something that matches these search queries, you can find it. But that is technically possible. We're piloting that kind of service in 3 institutions involved in the PERI program. But the only barrier to it is political. It's ownership of the metadata that can build these systems. And then that goes to some of the things that we discussed this morning about the metadata, global standards and stuff. I mean, it's very easy to get it from some open access publishers, no problem. It's very easy to get it from some commercial publishers, no problem. But some, it's much more difficult for technical standards. But many, it's very difficult for political and commercial standards. But that would be that's where I would advocate, is that if the commercial, and I'm not anti-commercial, but if the commercial publishers are really serious about this access to information, then they would need to release their metadata for use, unquestioned use.
Okay, thanks. I think we're running out of time. What I wanted to do, Wes, do you have a question from earlier that I asked you to postpone? Do you want to come back on that one? Do you remember your question?
I think it was a comment.
A comment, that's also
I
fine.
really enjoyed your paper. I thought, actually, I was really happy that since I get to choose which session I video, I was happy I chose this one. But I was going to say, if you haven't finished your Ghana and Kenya evaluations, I'd be happy to do those for free.
Okay.
I think we shouldn't have local people do it too.
Yeah, in fact, we, as much as possible, want to go to an independent agency to do the evaluation.
I just think it's interesting because it's the opposite side of what we're looking at.
Okay, does anybody else have a final question or comment or thought? We haven't. A lot of issues have come up, and I'm not going to even begin to summarise any of them. But I mean, we've had a lot of different elements of the access to the global, publishing your own, getting capacity building, looking at this federated search across, building those kind of networks and collaborative consortia, or platforms, tools. Talking about interagency, inter-initiative collaboration. Has anybody else got a burning? Is everybody quite hungry, I imagine? Quite a long morning. I have a question for Wes. I'm not quite sure what happens in terms of lunch, what goes on, but while you think about the answer, let me just do an advert. This afternoon at 2:30, we come back, this session continues with a different focus. And this morning was so far very much talking about getting access to that kind of closed, a lot of it was accessing the closed, private, proprietary information. This afternoon we'll talk also much more about open access. So some slightly different angles will come out this afternoon after lunch. So there's more competition this after lunch, I think, for different sessions. So I'm encouraging you to come back to this one. What is the deal for lunch?
Well, I have. There's really only one deal for lunch, which is buffet across, and I would have paid for it myself, except for one word, Hurricane Katrina. So sorry about that.
Okay, so we're on our own for lunch, it's in a buffet out here. You're recommending?
I'm recommending the buffet there. I forget what I've been eating it, but I forget what it even costs.
Okay, and 2:30 we come back here again. And I wanted to thank everybody for all the presenters for preparing in advance. Thank you very much. Excellent, very interesting, I think. A nice range of related initiatives. And see you at the 2:30.
We were looking at access to information, predominantly access to, if you like, northern produced and based information, although there was some references to southern-based information. And now we're going to be looking at, well, the wider publishing and dissemination of science findings. Just as a reminder to the speakers, we've only got about 20 minutes maximum, so I'll be sitting there and I'll let you know when there's 2 minutes left to go, okay? And I think if we go like we did this morning, then we should have enough time. We'll go through the order as outlined here, so I'll ask Stephen to come up again and introduce himself and to open the first session. Thank you.
Escape of the United Nations in Rome. I stole somebody else's paper this morning and presented that. I was really here to present the paper that, which you have the title in front of you now. The vision and strategy to enhance the AGRIS model for access to and exchange of information on agricultural science and technology. We should have a birthday cake in here really, because AGRIS is 30 years old this year. Those of us with long memories would certainly have been around for the initiation of what was a brave and mainframe-based initiative in those days, 1975 to 2005. A load of experience, a load of captured knowledge on how to do this, but during that 30 years, an incredible technological change has allowed us to adapt and move the way that information is captured and exchanged. And I'm just going to revisit some of these issues. The basic principles of AGRIS, the International Information System for Agricultural Science and Technology, are still good. It's an international multilingual system, it's participatory, it's common ownership of data. The database is now 3 million records, which is not up to CABI standards, but it's pretty good. They are basically, in many cases, just the stripped metadata. It's just the author title and so on. With a few, though, you will find the author abstract. The support from FAO, as originally conceived in '75, was strong. There was funding. Abe Leibovitz, who I met again on Friday, still smiling, was touring the world with his suitcase and providing the SWAT team on the AGRIS brief. But it wasn't working. When I joined FAO in 2000 from CABI, we were really taking stock of what AGRIS was all about. AGRIS was 98% developed country input. The developing country contributions to the database had dropped to an insignificant level. I've got some separate statistics about African input, but it was totally depressing, really, what was going on. We had to adapt. We had also to move to use the technology more, move to a more positive approach. We needed to be, and this new vision, which is in fact on the back table, this green-headed document, really came out of that analysis in 2002 for a decentralized approach, a greater diversity of participating organizations. Instead of depending on the National AGRIS Input Center, which was normally under-resourced, we diversified, had more institutions involved. A strengthened role in capacity building, because there was a definite lack of institutional and human capacity. Focus on the full text document, that's what people want. They don't want the metadata. Greater availability of associated information, and a set of web-enabled standards and tools. There was an electronic conference in 2003 which came up with a set of recommendations mainly for FAO to implement, and focused particularly on capacity building. There was a real feel that at national level there was simply not the skills and the institutional awareness to be able to contribute to something like the AGRIS database. IMARC, the Information Management Resource Kit, came up really as a result of that identified need. I don't want to talk too much today about IMARC in the broad sense, because its roots were in AGRIS. As a partnership-based e-learning initiative, it's now matured over the last 3 years to have a steering group of 7 organizations whose logos are there, some of which will be familiar to you, others may not, and some of them are agricultural and some of them are not. But certainly, this broadened base is reflected in the first 2 modules, management of electronic documents and digitization and digital libraries, that were put together really to support the AGRIS initiative. But incidentally, the management of electronic documents module, which is now in 3 languages, we distributed more than 10,000 of those CDs, and it's now up on the web as of last week. Digitization, digital libraries, one has only been out since May, and then we've already shifted more than 6,000 of those CDs. And that's also on the web. So there's a much broader uptake, I believe, and we're busy evaluating these two modules than the purely agricultural community. I think it's going a lot wider than that. Two new modules planned for the end of this year. The first one aimed at managers, decision makers who are thinking about investing in agricultural information. And the fourth one in the set, building electronic communities. These are all really fundamentally about the institutional networking capability that backs up the Agris database. And they came out of a general perception of institutional need. The content management questions that were raised in 2003 were the focus of the group run by Johannes Kaiser, some of whom know him very well. The agriculture metadata elements set, which is a Dublin core derivative, and very much now being promoted as an agricultural standard for managing, creating, and exchanging metadata. The Agris application profile, which is a spawn of that, if you like, particularly for the Agris initiative, which allows a certain XML format to be able to exchange data between systems. The AgriVoc thesaurus, which is now in all five official languages of FAO, English, French, Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. And we were just talking just now that in India they're moving to Hindi and various other Indian languages. We have it in Thai, we have it in Farsi, you name it. It's becoming, although not up to the perfect standard, say, of something like a CAB thesaurus, it has the massive advantage of interoperability between languages, which is a really fast-growing advantage these days as more and more language materials available on the web. The Web ISIS software, which has been available for quite a few years now, and recently developed SQL version of it, being developed with our partners in Egypt. We would obviously like to get to a MySQL version of that, which is a fairly short migration, and then we'll have an open source toolset. Pushing the whole Agris initiative more and more towards an open archive, formally an open archive initiative. Johannes's group 2 weeks ago published a major website on agricultural information management standards. You can see the URL there at the bottom of the page. This has brought together 5 years worth of work. It's available, in fact, in the 3 blue leaflets that are on the table at the back. A major initiative on their part, and to be the basis for further discussion and further interaction for developing of these standards. At the end of it all, our objective is information exchange. Standards simply power that process and help it to happen efficiently and effectively. The challenges that we see in the Agris network come back to, however, and they're still with us, because even with IMARC, even with all the standards, we haven't really addressed the establishment of national networks of institutions. The diversification, the creation of the policy framework and the institutional collaboration that will allow us to do what we need to do at national level. FAO can't do it. It really has to be promulgated and supported at that level. Capacity building more and more required, even with the modules, even with the support from partner institutions. The work that we've done with CIRAD in terms of producing the first French module, now we can suddenly speak to the Francophonie. It's all moving that forward, more and more capacity building. One thing to develop the standards and tools, the thing I always tease Johannes about is anybody using them? We can develop little workshops to create the standards, agree them all, and the boffins go back to their institutions and no one is any the better. So promulgating and advocating and pushing their use is part of the global information society thing. We had a workshop, a consultation, in fact, less than a month ago, which brought together a few people that are here today, to look at this legacy of Agris issues, and realizing that we stole this before Enrica kills me. We stole this little model here from this consultative group for international agricultural research. She will be talking more about that shortly, so I get to show mine first. Looking at what are the key components of systems in the institutional content and so on. and thinking about where our advantages would be in terms of intervening to make the whole system thing better. We very quickly realized that Agris doesn't operate, we knew that anyway, Agris doesn't operate in a vacuum. There are all sorts of other information systems initiatives. We need an advocacy platform that will accommodate all these different approaches. The only reason an organisation like CIRAD, for instance, isn't in that list on of logos on the right is they just simply weren't part of the organising committee. But that's who organised the consultation. Look at this capacity building issue and think about content management. The advocacy platform, a common vision with strong and clear messages for where these different pieces fit. What's the basis? We talked a lot about evidence this morning, about of evaluation. Having the raw material to power advocacy is very, very important. Champions, strategically placed individuals who can lobby hard, who can really push for change, because there's too much complacency in the agricultural sector particularly. People are complacent that their knowledge is being disseminated when it really is not. Case studies, we heard a little bit this morning too about case study evidence being gathered, I think, through the IFL initiative. You know, this is important to show people that it has been done before, what were the lessons learned. I would hate anyone to reinvent all the lessons we've learned through the Agris network, and it's up to us to really promulgate those. And the indicators that will support productive monitoring and evaluation. For capacity building, it's a complex picture. Our focal point is national capacity. It's very good to think about regional networks and international networks, but if the weak points at national level are not addressed, we're really not moving ourselves forward. If the universities, if the National Agricultural Research Services are not focusing hard on how their knowledge is disseminated, how their know-how is shared, and building their own capacities to do that, we're really not moving forward. At the international level, we can do what we like to create advocacy platforms such as this, to talk and share ideas, but where the buck stops is at the national level. We have to get that part of it right. And the effective mechanisms for partnership, working through all these different organizations to create not trying to do, the old Agris mentality was very condescending and very neo-imperialist. You send us your data, we'll process it and give it back to you. No, stop. FAO doesn't have the resources to do that anymore anyway. Let's move the whole responsibility, the whole ownership thing to the national level and have people do it themselves. No one's going to get them their lunch, they have to get it. On the content management side, thinking really about open access publishing more in a broad sense. The Open Archive, which is what Agris is, but also the full text open access. We're going to be trying to pilot this sort of approach in one or two partner national networks. Interlinking different types of information, we've very much focused in Agris on documents.